This video will focus on waterfalls and gorges and upper course river feature. So what exam questions could we be asked? Well, we could be asked anything from the formation of this particular feature to annotating or labelling photographs or diagrams. So let's get started with the formation of a waterfall. So step one in the formation of a waterfall is when we have a river which has just travelled over a band of less resistant rock after flowing over a relatively small section of resistant rock. Step two in the formation of a waterfall is when the less resistant rock over time has been vertically eroded. That means downwards erosion has taken place where the water has eroded in a vertical movement, whereas the more resistant rock is actually undercut very slightly by the water. Step three in this process is then when the resistant rock forms a slight overhang over the less resistant rock. And due to, again, vertical erosion, creating this sudden drop now from this waterfall, the water will fall off the front of the waterfall, and due to the force of hydraulic action, the shear force of the water, it begins to create a small plunge pool at the base of the waterfall. Step four in the formation is concerning the overhang, and as this overhang grows over the plunge pool, there actually isn't enough less resistant rock beneath it to support it and hold it up. Therefore, under its own weight and due to gravity, eventually it will collapse into the plunge pool. Step five is when the overhang has now added rocks and boulders to the plunge pool, again causing further erosion in our plunge pool by abrasion and hydraulic action. And then we have this further eroding of our plunge pool in the less resistant rock. We then have the constant process repeated again and again, and the waterfall retreats upstream, leaving the remains of a gorge behind. And if we now apply what we have just learnt to a photograph of a waterfall, there are lots of various features that we can pick out. We have got this plunge pool at the base of the actual waterfall. We have the water falling itself. We have this vertical downwards erosion occurring due to the water falling off this cliff face. In our plunge pool, we have got rapids via the water crashing down, that shear force creating hydraulic action, a process of erosion. We have got a gorge being created either side of our waterfall, where the waterfall is actually retreating over time. At the top we have that more resistant rock, whereas at the bottom we have that less resistant rock. Whereas if we consider an aerial perspective of a waterfall, again, we can label the same features. So the top of your waterfall, you've got that more resistant rock. Then underneath, that less resistant rock. You can clearly see the plunge pool in this particular example from Iceland, with our hydraulic action from the shear force of the water hitting the plunge pool. And either side of our river at the top of the waterfall, we've also got our gorge, and again, that vertical erosion due to gravity.